Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to Computer Hobbyist. Today I want to talk about my favorite computer, actually favorite computer of all time. It is the M1 Mac Mini. Let's talk about which version I got. I got the version with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 500 gig drive on it. Reason I got 16 gigabytes is because I do a lot of video editing and stuff, and I also do software development. So I have run into circumstances with my old computer, which was 8 gigabytes, where there was extreme slowdown while editing videos and stuff. So that's why I got the 16 gigabytes. As far as the drive, I just wanted the bigger drive because I create so many videos and stuff, and each video I create is usually around a gigabyte, sometimes more. So with a 256 gigabyte drive, it would fill up too fast. As it is, with a 500 gigabyte drive, it fills up every like 2.5 months. So if I had a smaller drive, probably a little over every month, I would have to free up space on the drives. But if I had any problems with it, let's go over the good stuff first. Good stuff is it is fast as hell. I have a $3,500 engineering Windows laptop that I use at work for software development, and this is just as good, if not better, as far as performance-wise. And using this with Visual Studio for Mac, I create video games for fun. I'm doing Visual Studio using the MonoGame framework, and the typical build time is less than 10 seconds, which is awesome. It builds faster than the Windows version of Visual Studio, significantly faster, so that's nice. If you have to make a lot of changes, it only takes 10 seconds before you're executing the code, and so you can test it and so forth. Another good thing about the Mac Mini, the M1 version that is that it has unified memory. What that means is that you have a certain whatever amount of memory you bought, 8 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, or whatever. All that memory can be used by the CPU or by the GPU. So let's say your CPU is only using 8 gigabytes of memory. Now you have 8 gigabytes of RAM available for your GPU for graphics and stuff, which is awesome. I don't play that many video games on this machine. I play most of my video games on consoles, but everything that I have played on this has run wonderfully. Very smooth graphics, very smooth animation, so I'm very happy with that. So the price of this is dirt cheap. I think it's $699 if you get the base model, which just has 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 256 gigabyte hard drive. With the extras, I got the 16 gigabyte of RAM and 512 gigabyte hard drive. With tax, and there's no shipping, but I think with tax it was like $1,169 or something. So that may sound like a lot of money, but considering the performance you're getting out of this computer, it's well worth it. Like I said, this is at least as good as my $3,500 Windows computer I use at work, if not better. So that's price, I think, was really reasonable. Another thing I like about the Mac Mini is it has a hell of a lot more ports than the iMac does. It's got regular USB ports. It has USB-C ports, which are also, I guess, Thunderbolt ports, and an HDMI port, which is nice. However, there's one problem I was having with this computer. I have two monitors that I run, and one is connected to the HDMI slot, and the other one goes in through an adapter to the USB-C slot. The original adapter, I bought the HDMI to USB-C. When I plugged it in, it worked, but there was times when I would start the computer and it would not recognize the second monitor, so the only way to get it to recognize it was to unplug the USB-C adapter and plug it back in. So tried a bunch of stuff, couldn't get that to work, so I said, the hell with it, I'll buy the Apple HDMI to USB-C adapter, which is very expensive. It's like $60 or something. I got it on eBay for like $28. But I was like, man, do I really want to spend this much on an adapter? Because the previous adapter I had was like $10, brand new. But I was like, I'll get it. I was like, see how it is. So I plugged it in, and I haven't had any problems with the monitor, the second monitor at all, since getting the Apple adapter. So if you're going to get an adapter to plug in a second monitor, buy the Apple adapter, even though it's expensive, because the other one was just problematic. And another thing with the old one, adapter I had that I forgot to mention is sometimes I'd be using the computer and the second monitor would just go blank, and then it would start back up again. This happened like probably once every few hours of use, but since getting the Apple adapter, I haven't had that problem at all. The only other problem I had is this thing has Bluetooth issues. If there's any kind of interference or so forth, you're going to have trouble connecting your mouse, or you're going to lose connection to your Bluetooth mouse or to your Bluetooth keyboard. So the only solution to that, if you're having interference or something, would be to move the Mac to a different location of the house, which isn't feasible. So I ended up going out to Walmart and buying a $10 keyboard with a USB connection and a $6 mouse with a USB connection. So on days where my mouse loses connection or my keyboard loses connection, I can just plug in the USB one and continue to use the computer. I've noticed, though, if you lose your USB connection on your mouse or your keyboard, if you plug in, not your USB, your Bluetooth connection, but if you plug in your USB mouse and USB keyboard and you go to system preferences and then you go to like mouse or keyboard and you go there and try to get it to detect a Bluetooth keyboard or mouse, from there it will usually work. So the login page for Big Sur doesn't seem to be able to pick up your mouse if there's any type of interference. So you can use the wired connection to get into the computer and then just reset the Bluetooth mouse or Bluetooth keyboard. But yeah, that's the Mac Mini's biggest problem, is the Bluetooth issues. Hopefully the new iMac they have, which I haven't tried yet, has less Bluetooth issues or none at all. But yeah, so if you buy this, just go to Walmart, buy a $10 USB keyboard and a $6 USB mouse in case for days you have trouble with Bluetooth. But other than that, the computer's been wonderful. I really enjoy it, and it's got Big Sur on it, which is an operating system I really like. Oh, one thing, if you're thinking about getting a iMac instead of Mac Mini, if I was to do it all over again, the new iMac with the M1 didn't exist when I bought this, but it does now. I would still buy the Mac Mini, and let me explain why. It's because the Mac Mini has many more ports on it and so forth. If I had an iMac, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm counting these here, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 USB devices attached to this. I have a SD card. I had to buy an adapter to put an SD card on this because it has no port for an SD card. And then in addition to that, I have the second monitor going in through from HDMI to the USB-C port and stuff. So the iMac, the less expensive version, only has 2 ports, and the more expensive version has 4. So the one with 2 ports wouldn't be enough for me to plug everything in, even with adapters, because adapters generally won't support more than 4 devices, or at least the adapters I've had. So yeah, iMac just wouldn't work for me because there's not enough ports, unless I got the higher version, which had 4 ports, and then I would be able to get enough adapters and stuff to connect everything. But yeah, even though the adapters are usually inexpensive except for the HDMI to USB-C adapter, it's kind of unfortunate that with buying most Macs, you're going to need an adapter. Like if you're to buy like a MacBook Air and you have like a regular USB printer, which is what I have, I'd have to buy an adapter just to use my printer with it, which is kind of silly. But overall, I love the M1 Mac Mini. It has some issues with Bluetooth, but other than that, it's just wonderful. Thanks for watching, and have a good evening.